Hello, everybody, welcome. Rosie and Karina, psycho-investigators.
Hello.
Guys, so we're getting started here. So there's a few topics today. There's news out of Germany that we're going to address. There's also some elements here. So and some Karina had interesting fish about Kamala and some new ways of looking at things. Okay, so let me just pause here and then grab the items. Okay, so guys, we're back here. So let's do the protection. Karina reminded me to do the protection. So let's go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to ask for protection, beautiful way of light coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I feel my lungs as I breathe out. I create a circle. I create a circle. I step into it. I step into it. I feel protected. I feel connected. I like to ask that information come only from the highest sources, that it create the good and only the good. And so it is. All right. Okay. So before, as I was getting ready to start here with Karina, I had a final look at the news and I saw this, and so I said, Karina, let's include this for sure because this is relevant because we know that we have the
Mm-hmm.
elections coming up. I think it's the 23rd, like very soon we have the
Yeah.
German elections. Now, this is the current chancellor. He does not, I don't think he has I don't know exactly how the system of government is. It's different than ours, but I don't think he's necessarily going to stay in power. So I think he's third place or something like that. So the fact that he said he's calling on the parliament to impose a state of emergency, and the reason is that it's events in the last 24 hours, and the statements made by the U.S. government regarding Ukraine. And so here, you see that they were really caught off guard when it came to Trump's statement yesterday. I mean, through the Department of Defense, right, Hegseth, and also that because according to the article, let me actually um, see if I can share some here. Okay, so share. Let's see. Okay, where was it? Okay, so let's see what you see. So you see here, Trump kept Germany's Scholz in the dark about his Ukraine peace plan, quote unquote, right, peace plan. Based on talks
Mm-hmm.
with Trump, Schultz had expected Washington to continue its support for Kyiv, he told Politico. Okay, so US President Donald Trump appears to not have told Chancellor Olaf Scholz about his impeding bombshell peace plan for Ukraine, despite Germany's crucial role in supplying arms and aid to Kyiv. Scholz spoke to Politico on Wednesday, only hours before the Trump administration's shock announcement that it would conduct peace negotiations over the head of European leaders, effectively ceding Ukrainian territory to Russia and insisting that Europe should provide the lion's share of military and financial aid. So, and it's saying here on his conversation with Berlin Playbook, Scholz said he had been receiving indications from Trump and his advisors that Washington would not perform such a dramatic U-turn to support for Kyiv. On support for Kyiv. So now, so again here
Mm-hmm.
it is right. So then okay, now removed. So let's ask, like because I have
Okay.
I'm very advanced method here to post it on the cover of huh. Okay. No. So no, but really so that's it. So let's ask Karina now what is going on, because again guys, I was reminding Karina because it came up as I was putting it together. I remember, I think it was yesterday that I had seen, right, something like that Germany would take down this whole thing and it would especially take down Musk. So we are on the cusp
Mm-hmm.
of the German election. And if the chancellor there is asking for this to be right, to be done, so
Yeah.
they must know something. So let's see what's going on here
Okay.
with Germany and the Chancellor Olaf Scholz asking for a state of emergency. What is going on with Germany and the Ukraine and their reaction to Trump's plan? What are they? What is Olaf Scholz planning? What is going on over there? As far as the election is concerned, that's coming up, and Musk and all that. So let's see. So what is he going to do? I see. What's he going to do? Okay. So Karina, let me know if you because I got information here, but let me know if you have
Go
something.
ahead. I got the very basic, very big picture.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead? If you have the basic picture, go ahead.
Yeah. Um, so what it showed me was an image of the chancellor
Mm-hmm.
with Hegseth on one side and Leon on the other. And there was like a rubber band in between them. And that Elon was pulling on one side and Hegseth was pulling on the other. So it's like he's caught in this. He knows it's a Ukraine thing and it's a Leon thing. And it's about, it is the election. And it's like that rubber band. He kept trying to cut the rubber band between them. Like, we've got to break this. We've got to cut the ties kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it took me into something different. So I'll let you talk. And if I get anything else, I'll let you know.
Okay. All right. So I just got it's interesting. I saw that the expression of Schultz was something like let's see, it was just something like just removing that stuff for even uh focusing. It was like, oh, Trump, he's so annoying. Like he's like has this pro Putin, whatever. Let's see, maybe we can sort of handle it this way. Like it's like he's how do you say it when you like at an arm's length a little bit, like okay,
Yeah.
it's like this. But then when Trump made that statement, he's like, whoa, war, war, war. He thinks from his perspective that he's like he's owned by, I mean, not that everybody was like, oh really, he likes Putin. No, not that people like, does it make sense? I don't think anybody's like shocked that Trump is spouting Russia's talking points in this issue,
Right.
but it's more like, as we'd say with diplomacy, they gave leeway. They will say, oh well, what if he has changed, what if something, right? But when he made that statement, that was interpreted uh by Germany as being that they have to defend themselves against war because that's what's coming to them. That's what they think.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
then I see that he's like, then I see that, like a person, then he looks at Elon Musk. Now that's the thing that they decide to do. Because with the election, I see him holding like some sort of piece of metal. There's like lasers coming at him, and he's like, at him meaning Germany even. So the signals are blocked. Like it's like he's putting up like almost like cartoons. You have these like pieces of metal that reflect back the laser or whatever, but he's doing that like this to block the stuff that Elon is sending. And I see that then they put what is it called? What is it? Sanctions on Elon Musk before
Yeah.
because they realize this. Elon Musk is acting like the American president, but he's not really the president. So
Mm-mm.
technically they can do that because he's not a government official, technically speaking. So whatever Trump says, I is saying he's not really an employee of the US government. They could say it just to say it, but the reality is that he's not an employee of the US government. So they say they go this far and take this, what is for a lot of diplomats would be like, wow, that's a big risk, right? You want to upset the US because it's saying they have already declared this intention to go to war. That's what he sees it as.
Right.
And we have to act accordingly to look at what they did in the US. They know
Exactly.
that they think so. So just confirm, does he think that, yes, they know they stole the election there.
Yes, they
So
do.
they're going to do the same thing here. That's what it is. They're going to steal
Mm-hmm.
the election here, so we have to block it all. We have to
Yeah.
block all the signals. We have to block Starlink. That's what I think that he is doing. So
Yeah.
then the next question, what will the German parliament do? The German government in general, not just the the prime minister, but overall. They're saying yes. It's saying
Mm-hmm.
them support this measure because they know, except for
Mm-hmm.
the far right. So do you get some
But
this?
it's very important. It's very, you know, obviously they're concerned about Trump, but with the elections coming up, they are concerned more with Elon
That's
because
right.
of what he can do. And
That's right.
so that's where this rubber band makes sense because, you know, they have to obviously be concerned because they're involved with the Ukraine thing too, as well. But their elections are priority because
Mhm.
that would change so much. And if Elon gets in there and gets his way, it will change everything. So they do realize they're being terrorized as well as we are.
And
It's
it's
the
and
best
this
way to
is
say it.
and what I'm getting now makes sense. It's like this is why then the idea that the big moves would come from Europe. Why? Because they are being they realize they're under threat, and unlike us, they remember World War II, what it was like, how destructive it
Right.
was, and they want to avoid it. So the best way to avoid it is to do something about it earlier rather than later. So
Mm-hmm.
they may have to reveal it. That makes sense. They may have to actually go ahead and reveal it because, and I see that in their minds, it's saying this. If we kind of like show the cards, so show what we have now, we prevent something huge. Because what if, so they're starting from the perspective that anything can happen now. It's like all hell breaks. If we wait, only the bad things can happen because this is, it's like he sent it, and it's almost as if they said something, they have this, I don't know, measure or something like that. If it comes to the point where they will say X, then it means the worst case scenario. So we have to act. And that's what I think he's doing. Interprets this as the quote unquote worst case scenario. So
It
this
is.
sense, Karina, like, do you get
Yeah.
this, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because worst case scenario would be they let it go through and then they're dealing with the same situation we're dealing with.
That's right, exactly. And so they're like, we can't afford to do this. We can't, it can't be because we're so
Right.
close and because of like, they just feel like the danger is enormous now. So that's why. And so, wow, that's interesting. So then what happened? What will Germany do? Let's ask between then now and their election. So what will they do now in the next, because I guess isn't it 10 days away? I think it is. What will
Mm-hmm.
Germany do? I see they're like they're sanctioning and they're arresting some people. They're blocking. You know, that's it. Because they have to say it. They have to say
Yeah.
we're blocking the X thing. We're blocking Elon Musk because we have evidence that he has participated in the American election. So that's it. And I think
Yeah.
they're just gonna go say it. That's what I get.
Wow.
Wow.
I just got big chills on that because that made me feel like when that's said, I just got a bang, 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 bang.
What does that
Like
mean?
everything else kind of starts to happen when
Oh.
that is said. Wow, I'm getting chills up my whole body.
And,
So it's like the, you know, once that's Pandora's box. So once that happens, it's just one thing after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. Because if Germany comes out and finally says that, we have a lot to deal with here in America.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, and I see that interesting. I see that I start to kind of like as I'm listening, I'm saying this and also listening to you just now, Corinne, I got Mark Rutte like high-fiving the German guy and say, yeah, good job, good move. We have to act now. Now we can't wait anymore.
Right,
We
right.
can't wait. So, and this is the time to act.
Yeah,
So, and we have they all share the information. They all know what happened, and they just have to go out and say it because it's saying they don't care about. We know who we're dealing with here. They don't care about us. We're next. They know like we're
right,
next. It's not just about Ukraine, it's about Europe.
right.
So
And
wow.
they can do it much easier than we can because of Leon. They don't have,
Hmm.
like you said, he's not a government official. He's not an elected official. He's just a person.
Hmm.
He's
Right.
just a regular citizen over there.
Hmm. Hmm.
So they can go after him in that way where, we have a little bit more of a challenge on our hands with him.
Hmm. That's right. Hmm. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So totally. Yeah. So wow. Yeah. Very interesting, Karina. Very interesting. So wow. Yeah. So that's good. It's like check back tomorrow, Karina. Oh, Rosie is saying.
Yeah.
Like, check back because it's gonna heat up. It's heating up. And it's interesting. I see then this image of Mark Rutte. frying an omelet, like when you flip an omelet. I don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
The okay, the thing is, it's in the kitchen or something. Like it's is there such an expression?
It's half made, or
Yeah, or
you know.
like the chick. It's now the dishes are being prepared or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna serve them.
Yeah, your order is being prepared.
Hmm. Wow, interesting. That's right. So then I get what is they've been quiet. They've been quiet, but they've been working on it.
Yeah,
So interesting. So yeah, and I see that Mark Rutte is very comfortable. Okay, wow, wow, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So I have
yeah.
so there's these other topics for today, but Karina, I was thinking of just going straight to the since you mentioned Hegseth, there's this other item here. Okay, so just
Okay.
1 second. I think it could just it's in the one of the background options. Oh, here it is. Okay, just select it. Uh, oh, here it is. Okay, so wow, look, I have it. What's it? No. Oh, all right. Okay, so Hegseth softens stance on Ukraine's potential NATO membership. So we saw that yesterday, right? He had made that's the thing that scared Germany, that he then softened the let's see the link. I have the link here. 1 second. Actually, ask. Let me just read. Okay, here it is. Okay, so all right. So Hegseth softens stance on Ukraine's potential NATO member. The clarification appeared to designed to address the backlash in Washington and Europe, ignited by his remarks as President Trump pursues negotiation to end the Russia-Ukraine war. Okay. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on Thursday walked back a key piece of his dramatic remarks here in NATO headquarters over the day prior, leaving open the possibility of Ukraine joining the military alliance after previously saying the United States does not believe membership for Kyiv is a realistic outcome in any peace deal with Russia. Hegseth's clarification appeared designed to assuage the backlash ignited by his remarks. Okay, all right. So also I wanted
Okay.
to share this part, okay, here is, then share this other one that's kind of just the image alone here. Here is,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to show the viewers here how the interesting body language that we see. Of course, how steady Mark Rutte, he seems at ease, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
standing, of course, that's his ground, his organization. And look at how Hegseth is so like out of his depth and also really nervous and like fidgety and wanting to leave. That's what
Mm-hmm.
it looks like, right, to me.
Yes.
So it's really very interesting. So let's actually could we could start, Karina, with that, right? Looking at this
Mm-hmm.
image.
Yes.
So
We can start with that.
so okay, so tell us, what does this photograph tell us about Hegseth? Wow, I see. And it's interesting, Corinne, I had discussed this image before, and I see even more like almost like there's a fire, little fire under his butt. And he's like, things are burning, and he's like, oh my God, it's really scary out there. He feels really nervous that he at
Yeah.
first thought, oh yeah, no, I'll go ahead and say what you want me to say. Sure, sure. And now that he's facing all of these generals, because I was listening to some channel and they said something like, I can't, this guy Hegseth has the farthest he has gone is major. This is the highest rank. And there you have the other, usually the secretaries of defense have been people with military backgrounds. They know what they're talking about. This is a person completely out of his depth. And
Right.
it's really getting to him. And I don't know, he could be also not he could be, I think he is a serious alcoholic. So he needs a drink to
Yeah, he is.
handle all of this. That's what he's, again, the seriousness of the situation and the way that Mark Rutte is looking at him. And then I see there's all these generals of NATO there facing him. And he is really like, he's so scared. He's really, that's what I get. He's just really
Yeah.
scared and
Yeah.
he doesn't know. And I see that they pressed him on it for more details and he just can't answer. And he gets really
Mm-hmm.
nervous because he's like, well, but I thought he realizes the job is more than making some silly statements here and there. He has to, they're asking of him a lot of questions and he does not know how to answer. And I
Mm-mm.
see that Mark Rutte, it was actually looking at him kind of, I don't say contempt, but kind of like, okay, he's like, well, I'm dealing with children here. He thinks to himself, like it's like this is the real thing, buddy. It's not a joke.
Right.
And then I see that there, I don't want to say masculinity is not the word, but something like, the whole power of truth that they all these other generals and Mark Rutte are standing on versus this guy
Mm-hmm.
so flimsy,
Right.
it completely um softens him and just makes him, he just does not, I feel like he just not does not want to be there at all. So anyway, so I talked a lot, but go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, he's completely out of his league. He can feel it, he can sense it, he knows it,
Uh-huh.
he's heard it,
Hmm.
and he is a scared little puppy. He
Hmm.
had It's right. It's one thing to be big man on campus. Sure, I'll go and say whatever you want me to say. But when it comes time for confrontation, they can't handle it because they're not in their league. They don't even know what he doesn't even know what he's really talking about when these guys get together.
Hmm.
And it's somebody what I pick up for him because of his alcohol use, he's very what's the word? Not intimidated, but insecure in his own manhood and knowledge and position. So it makes him even more like the kid in the room that's embarrassed because he feels so stupid and out of
Hmm.
place.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that really comes through.
Wow, wow,
It
wow.
really, really comes through because he is that kid.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
So he's squirming because he just wants, you're right. He just wants out of there to get a drink. He just
that's right.
wants out. Just get
Mhm.
me out. Just get me out.
Wow, wow. And then, okay, so then coming back here, um, I also am I getting something like, or maybe you just want to clarify this. So I do we get because Quinn and I are going to discuss next this new approach to the, or kind of coming into terms with of like looking into what's the resolution of this, because we're dealing with all these news that are sort of like a lot of it is for the, the way they act, right? It's a joke to them. It's all about distraction. So when we see news like, I mean, the news about Ukraine is obviously not distracting at all, but the way they take it, right? They were
Right.
taking all the other distraction as a means to kind of try to get away with all of this, that they're now facing resistance from NATO, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I guess the question is, what is the resolution here? Because I keep seeing that Rutte is so good. I mean, these people are professional, they have experience. He was prime minister of an actual country for 14 years, so he knows what he's doing. He's capable.
Yes.
And then I see that they completely play him. They kind of like don't even listen and they just do their thing. And that's what I think that the resolution is, that NATO is perfectly capable of doing everything that they're doing, and they win, and they don't really care too much about what Trump is saying, other than they have to act because they know they can't trust him.
Right.
But that's what I got. The resolution is that he's completely overpowered, is that he's bad and what he does, and he's over.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. And you know what? It's confirming something you said yesterday.
mm,
It's taking me to that where you said it's like people who try to run a company that have no competence.
mhm.
They're not qualified for their positions. It's like a big frat house. That's
Yes.
what it is. It's a big
Hmm.
frat house.
Hmm.
And it's a big frat house trying to run a country.
Hmm. Yes.
They're not competent or qualified. So
Mhm.
Ruta can run circles around those guys because they know their shit.
That's
These
right.
guys don't.
Yeah,
They don't know shit.
and of course they know that they were hired because they're incompetent, right? They were hired because they want whoever the heads here, Banner,
Yeah,
whatever, they want the clowns to be in charge so that
right.
they can get away with everything. And it's so I see that no, they actually don't get away with things because they find, I see that there's resistance. And also again, I see what's interesting, that this Hegseth guy just lets him, oh yeah, sure, okay, okay then, sure. He doesn't make sense in the way. I think he might actually, I don't know how long he's going to stay in this job because he's going to do what NATO wants, and that's not what Trump wants. That's not what Putin wants. So
Exactly.
Very
And
interesting.
as you're talking, I'm getting a hit that Putin either called him or is going to call him. I feel like
Mhm.
he already called him.
Wow. Hmm.
And that conversation scared the hell out of Hegseth. Like he's petrified of Putin.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And because he's not in that league, he's not qualified to do that kind of work.
Hmm. Hmm.
He's just not. So Putin, whatever Putin said to him, which, I could see the conversation, it scared him. He realized how deep he was in and how over his head he is.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Right.
I don't think he's willing to do too much that Trump wants because he's scared. He's
Hmm.
scared of NATO. He's scared of our people. He's scared of those generals that he's under or he's over or not or speaking to. He's scared to death. He is scared to death. So
Hmm.
that's good. That's good. I kind of like that about
That's right.
him in
That's
the
right.
sense that that gives us a little bit of leeway in who we can go after to fold and stuff.
Yeah, no, no, it's great. It's great, Karina. It's really, it's exciting. Is that the word that we can use these days? Considering.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
exactly.
oh, wow, this is very good. Okay, so this was excellent. Okay, so let's go to the next subject. Okay, so wow, right, Karina, this is really fascinating. So,
Yeah,
all
I'm
right.
glad that came out.
No, no, really. And it's all connecting. So now so this was supposed to be the beginning of our conversation, but something this remember I was like, something's telling me, Corinne, let's start with the Germany. Let's start with the Germany thing. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
right because it kind of ties everything together. So the discussion here, Corinne, Corinne had a vision about Kamala, so why don't you go ahead and start, okay? And share
Okay.
with us
So
your
last night I was just sitting here, and honestly, I was kind of into Jasmine Crockett's energy because I was addressing a comment about Jasmine Crockett, and her energy just overwhelmed me. And just quick to say, she is the most beautiful spirit soul. She has the most beautiful energy. She's an amazing force on this planet, and she will continue to do amazing things. So, as I had that experience with her energy, it was just amazing. And I was just sitting here basking in that, and an image of Kamala came in. And I was basically looking into a living room. So it was like my perspective was I was standing in the foyer looking in. And she was standing like it was an open concept kind of thing. So I was looking right at the living room. She was standing up against the back of a couch, leaning against it with like her legs crossed and her arms crossed. She was wearing this beautiful bluish, slate blue suit. And there were no words spoken. I didn't hear anything. I had the understanding it was meant to be very, very silent. And it was. And so she looked at me, I looked at her, and she nodded and she glanced down to this side table that was next to the couch. And inside it was a drawer, and it had a red phone inside the drawer. And she looked at me, and looked at the phone. And in that moment, I knew her message to me was, I'm just waiting for the call. I'm just waiting for the call. Whenever it comes, I'm waiting for the call.
Mhm,
So that left me feeling really, really good
mhm,
because for me, those things are so real. But
mhm,
that made me feel really good, and just wanted me to share. I wanted to share that with everybody to give them some hope too.
mhm, mhm. That's great, Rita, right? It's
Yes.
powerful. It's powerful and very
Mm-hmm.
cool. And I know sometimes we read the comments and people are like, when is it gonna end? But we know the timing is hard to tell, hard to say, but I feel like that was a very encouraging piece of information, visual information, right? That's what
Mm-hmm.
I.
Yes, it was very powerful and profound. So when you feel that way, it is a spiritual message. Kind
Mm-hmm.
of like I want to say addressing yesterday
Mm,
with the Poseidon adventure, we all realized that, especially me, because the minute my husband heard me say that, he listened to the video as soon as it came out, and I hadn't even started to listen yet. But he heard me say that, and he's like, "You have never even seen that movie."
mm,
So he got chills because he's like, "I knew exactly what you meant, and it was the song." And
mm,
so he sent it to me, and I listened. And as soon as I listened, it was like, "Oh my God, yes, it's the song." Because I get songs all the time.
mhm.
And I'm surprised I didn't get the song, but I got the movie. So,
And
plus
this
the movie is kind of relevant how everything's upside down and they have to get out and find the light.
and the song
So,
for people who don't know, because just the theme of the song
the
for people who
the song is the morning after,
don't. Mhm.
the morning after. And when you listen to the words of the morning after, and I think it was, what is it, Marilyn McGovern, or yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm sorry if I'm not wrong on the name, but it's in the posts. But she does a beautiful job. And when you really listen to the words of that song, you'll understand it was pretty much about the song.
And
Yeah.
what it is about waiting because the help is right. Isn't I read
Yeah.
this
It's,
something like that, right?
hold on to, if we can just make it through the night,
Right.
and make it through the darkness, basically, the light's on the other side. If we just
Mhm.
keep working towards the light,
That's right.
moving towards the light,
Hmm.
holding the light. So it was pretty profound too.
It's great. Oh, really? Very encouraging, Karina. Right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes. For me, it is.
Oh, no, really. It's I know. Really, it was very good. Very good. Okay. So,
Yeah.
so I wanted to then connect it to this. So I told you guys I had been listening to this book. It's called and I'm not necessarily recommending it because I haven't even finished. It seems like almost too full of too many details, but it's interesting just because it applies to this experience of dealing with politics. And so
Hmm.
this book, the second chapters is about this thing they describe as pendulums, negative pendulums. And what it is basically this idea that like there's like all these experiences that we're having, there's the groups of people and essentially it's like this chunk of energy that can take away our focus. So he talks about, for example, politicians or movements of some kind or cults where people
Hmm.
like fall into they want, and these all these movements need followers and how it's very polarizing. And they talk about also how if you pay attention to something, even if you don't like it, you give it power and how they benefit
Hmm.
from energy that is positive and negative. And you can see this very clearly with the Trump situation where like, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing this again. So the more we talk about it, the more power we give to him. Even
Hmm.
obviously we're not supporters of him, the opposite. But when we're like, oh my God, look at him, he's doing this, then it makes his whole project seem much bigger than what it actually is. So it's always
Hmm.
a challenge, right? When I had a discussion, and how do you address, we're going to talk about some of the things that he's doing, yes, of course, but how can you talk about it in a way that is not giving him the the energy? So the way to do it came to the conclusion is we talk about it, but then we find what is the resolution of it. So just as we saw, yes, Hegseth had said this about Ukraine. Ultimately, NATO is in control, and they are in charge, and they will dismantle like their strategy that is very weak to begin with. So that is this approach that we're trying to kind of aim towards. And
Hmm.
so that's that. Just as kind of interesting way to think about it, about just think about things. And the book also gave an example, like even for example, if you're, let's say, in a subway and there's like a group of people to try to provoke somebody to do something, and when you give them the energy they want, then you're falling for the negative pendulum. It's saying it doesn't have to, that's also an energy. It's essentially this energy that comes in contact with you and will displace your focus. And so
Hmm.
it discusses, like, talks about different strategies in situations like this. So I just wanted to share because I thought it was quite interesting in light of everything that we're seeing, especially on today's video, right? So,
Hmm.
okay. So now, so there's other things here. I think we can, let's see here, because we don't have a ton left. But for example, here we have this lady, Pam Bondi. So this was the example that I
Yeah, this
talked
was this
talked
is
about.
perfect to go into that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because of the hero, this lady, Pam Bondi, she is going after uh Letitia James. And we know how how I feel about Letitia James. I got two hugs from her in 2018 or 19, I remember. But really, she's a wonderful person. Like she's a warrior, she's a spiritual person. And there they are threatening her. And so I asked the question, right, about
Hmm.
how to deal with I give the example, the news of something like this, where they're suing Letitia James, how to deal with this. And the answer he gave is to ask what is really the lasting truth about the situation, and what is the how do things turn, right? What is the resolution of the issue, not their like threats. And then so the article even says, let me show this you guys. So we know that the whole point of it, what the point of it is, right? That it is
Right.
to make Letitia James, right, to threaten and to make Democrats feel afraid. So
Right.
here it is, but you immediately will see what it is. So Pam Bondi's DOJ is suing Kathy Hochul, the governor, and Letitia James. At one point, she claimed that the Justice Department had filed charges, though the lawsuit appeared to be a civil case. So that does it. So does it make sense? They use so much propaganda, disinformation to threaten people.
Right.
So, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced their first news conference that the Justice Department is suing New York and several local officials in the state over its immigration policies. So Bondi specifically referred to New York's Green Light Law, which allows the Department of Motor Vehicles to issue driver's license for anyone in the state, regardless of citizenship or legal status. She claimed the policy prioritizes illegal aliens over American citizens. Okay, so then again, the question here is, what is the resolution of this? What is the final, right? Not like, oh, they're gonna. So what is happening here? What is the resolution of this situation? So it's saying it's like it tells me it's a farce again, this farce, and then the propaganda thing where they try to blame Democrats and immigrants as they do the really bad stuff
Right.
in the background, right? Try to
Hmm.
with a situation. Then I see that she's stepping, she it's like on her shoe, she wants to step on Lucia James, but then I see there's a giant foot on top of her that crushes her. So she thinks she's a big deal, but it's saying
Yes.
there's bigger people that are going to crush her very quickly, and it's not going to last. And no, I see the Letitia James, it remains very a really big figure, very strong, very lasting. And Bondi she gets crushed like a soda can, basically, I see.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and so is it, I don't even think that it's necessarily in the courts that she just has to go. She's gonna have to go very soon. And that's like goes into nothingness. That's what.
Yeah. Hmm. It was interesting because I saw saw image of them side by side.
Hmm.
So Letitia James is circled in this most beautiful white light.
Hmm.
Pam Bondi had gray and black.
Mm,
So basically, what it showed me is this: it's the same thing. They come after people to threaten, to scare, to create the propaganda, makes other people afraid of going after him, that kind of thing. But Letitia James stood so powerful. That's what's happening now. It's like they are that light of the truth of the people that are willing to stand in it is shrinking the other people.
hmm
It's they can't penetrate them. They can't cause them harm. It's they're being protected in that way. So what they try to do to these people, come after them and lawsuits, it is a farce. It's frivolous. It doesn't end up really going anywhere because it's not legitimate. There is no legitimacy behind this stuff when they start to pursue it. So
hmm
it's just fodder.
hmm
It's look at it as, I know sometimes it's scary, but look at it as fodder. That's what it is.
hmm
They're
hmm
trying to convince you they're scary, bad, evil people, which
hmm
they are evil,
hmm
but reduce it.
Hmm.
reduce it down.
Okay. Wow. No, very, very good. So, and so then I think probably the last thing here to talk about for today is the thing that it sounds a little scary, but and then we'll just okay, is that this one? Okay. Justice FBI ousters remove longtime experts from daily threats meeting. So, and I don't mean, and it's something to address that there's this idea, and I think it's very feasible. We can look into it. That of course Trump is removing all the guardrails and the people that know a lot about national security, right? That have had this job
Mm-hmm.
time so that he can install his lackeys and his Putin people, whatever whoever they are. And I think it makes sense logically that he eventually at some point they're going to want to do some sort of martial law, right? We're like, oh,
Yeah.
there's because if they and we know what happened, what's called is a was a fire. What is it? The Reichstag fire, where it's the false flag operation that they create to then blame the other side for something, right? Which is what happened in
Right.
Germany and Hitler. So so I feel like that's kind of the plan. But even though, again, we're trying to address the news here from this perspective, like, uh, so what is this is the what's come out and what is the resolution of this, right? How is this resolved
Right.
is the question. So how is what is the meaning of this news here? They're ousting all these people, and then what is the resolution of it? So let's see. There's the resolution. Oh. So yeah, so it is the image is horrible. I see this Trump is sitting in this chair and he's plucking out these people, like as if they can be like figurines. He's plucking out, ha ha ha. And then it shows me an image of a blackout curtain when you can block the light so that nobody could see anything that they're doing. That's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to create this blackout curtain and remove all the people that have eyes, really. And it tells me it says Rosie Five Eyes also, right? So essentially people that also are connected to other foreign intelligence agencies. So the goal is to create the momentum for this curtain to come down. And then I see that that's truly the goal, but then I see that he's still in this chair, like a rotating chair, but then somebody presses his button and he's ejected from the chair and is gone. So they think they're
Mm-hmm.
doing all of this and it's going to guarantee they're staying in power forever, basically, right? Because we know that the goal is to destroy democracy 100%. But I do,
Right.
I, I feel like ultimately that was the goal that's on the agenda, but it doesn't work. That's what I get. Okay. That's what I got for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the end, it doesn't go through what they try to do. He is getting rid of some good people,
Mm-hmm.
but I saw those people staying put or coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I just get that temporary feeling.
Okay. All right. So let's also, just as like it's not that what, but it's like since this is the fear is that Trump would take over, do this martial, like is Trump going to get to the point where he can declare? No, I feel like it's not going. They want to, but I don't think they have time to do it, or it doesn't quite work that way. That's what I get.
Yeah, because I think he would. Honestly, I think he wanted to do that right away when right when he got into office.
Mm,
But I don't think he could do it then either.
mm,
And
mm,
so I just always get that I just see the military standing up to him at that point.
mm. Okay, okay.
Like, no, sir, we're not doing that
Mm-mm.
kind of
Wow.
feeling.
Hmm. Wow. Okay, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. At some point, they have to say, we're not going against our own citizens.
Hmm. Wow, wow. So,
That's what I hear.
so that's right. And I get this advice saying like, yes, it's a very chaotic time. And it reminds me of what Karina has said many times to me before, that February is a dark month, but that it's not going to be forever. And then the song of the movie that just you have to hold on. The light is coming for it, right? There's another day. There's not,
Mm-hmm.
it's not forever, but that's the way that it's supposed to roll. So,
Right.
okay, so that's what I got. Just this a supportive uh statement here. Oh, something else that actually connected to this that came up. I'm just remembering. There was in the comments. Someone's like, "Oh, but I saw some channel that said that it's gonna take 2 years or like something like 18 months or something." So do you see, I mean, timing is very difficult, but do you see it being that far? I don't because I don't know. I just don't feel it seems I know it sounds like it feels like it's so distant, the reality of Kamala and such, but I don't feel
Yeah,
like
I
it's
don't feel it being that far either. I just don't.
mm-mm. And I see that those people are very explosive. Trump is, Elon Musk is, they don't have the patience for 2 years. So they want to, this is the thing, it's also one of the things that will
Good
help me,
point.
right?
Good point. Like I just got a smack on that back of the head like
Really?
that. Good
Oh, okay.
point.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they don't have the patience to wait that long. So they'll show themselves way before that.
And I see that there's a huge, and keeping being reminded here, there's a huge power struggle related to Elon Musk and
Mm-hmm.
this, and he is the type of person, right, that he wants destruction immediately. He doesn't have the mental capacity at this point with all the
No,
to stay like focused for 2 years on something long term. No. So,
no. Mm-mm. I don't think so either.
so
Not at all. I don't think any of them do. To be
mhm,
honest, I mean, come on. Look at their mental capacities, look at their physical abilities. Most of them are either alcoholics or drug addicts. When
mhm,
you're put in that kind of position, that's a lot of pressure, a
mhm,
lot of pressure. So it deteriorates every day for them. I mean, even Trump, it just deteriorates every day. He's not going to last that long through all this. I don't think so. I think the pressure will kill him first because, you know, it's hard enough dealing with Putin, but now you've got Leon involved.
mhm, mhm,
And he is not calm. He's very, very aggressive.
mhm,
He's very passive aggressive.
mhm,
No matter what he does, he's very aggressive.
mhm.
And that gets to you after a while. So I don't think Trump will be able to handle it for too long.
Yes, absolutely. No, 100% agree, 100%.
Yeah. Which is great because that's when we can start to see them turning on each other.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, no, very good, very good. So, very cool. So, all right, Karina.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, have a good
Yeah.
night.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye
Mhm.
bye.